Music and standing applause, what's not to like? It's a good day already. Hello, welcome, thank you for being here. Today, Søren and I will talk a little bit about Umbraco Cloud and you, which is the topic of this talk. The and you part will be at the end, so for now, let's talk a little bit about Umbraco Cloud. I'm Kek. My real name is Kristian, but we have 4 Kristians at HQ now, so we need to come up with different names, and my email is kek@umbraco.dk, so it became Kek. I worked with Umbraco for 5.5 years, and my title currently is Head of Cloud, meaning that I get to work with these lovely people every day. This is the current state of the cloud organization within the D team, within the Umbraco organization, and over the last year it has expanded quite a lot. As Philip mentioned in the keynote, we have tripled our people over the last 3 years, and that has also hit the cloud organization. One thing especially to notice is that we've established a SRE team, which is Site Reliability Engineering. It's a term coined by Google. I'm not going to go into much detail with what it is, but if you ever encounter that term, know that we have it. Furthermore, we have the hardcore team. We just hired a new team lead for this team, so if you're interested in hardcore, yeah, he's right here. Go talk to him, just tell him everything. He knows nothing, so it's a good start. We have a platform team. These are our hosting experts. They know almost everything you can know about Azure. They know a lot about Cloudflare, which are 2 main components of Umbraco Cloud. And lastly, we have the feature team, which are responsible for building the UI and the features that you see and use and feel with Umbraco Cloud. Today, we will talk a little bit about how we work to make Umbraco Cloud the best place to host Umbraco. We'll tell you some recent highlights. We'll go into a little more detail on the roadmap that Philip did. And finally, we'll have that you part where you can help us make Umbraco Cloud better. And for the keen observers out there, you may have noticed there's an image missing on the last photo. It's this beautiful man and my esteemed colleague, but I'll let him introduce himself instead. So here goes Søren.
Thank you, Kek. I'm Søren. I'm product owner in Umbraco Cloud. I was fortunate to join Umbraco Cloud late 2021. When our cloud organization and cloud platform was mature enough to have a really strict focus on product management. And we did from the very beginning. We redefined the vision and also changed our mindset. And today we're going to start off with looking at that, take a look at that mindset, and also the artifacts that we defined back then and have started using and are still using today. The Umbraco Cloud product mindset, you see it here, it's really easy to understand. First of all, we want to empathize with our users and customers. That's the key thing, and we do a lot of activities in order to do so. We are really much into customer-centric development, where we, due to our understanding of the users and customers, are ensuring that we work on the right things at the right moment in time. And specifically, we have a focus on developer experience, so all developers out there can be as productive and happy in Umbraco Cloud as hosting platform as possible, and also organization experience, where we want to ensure that all organizations using Umbraco Cloud can see it as a really important part of their strategic planning. The toolbox we use for this is user personas. We have conducted tens and tens of interviews with all kinds of people out there using Umbraco Cloud or using it in the past, and we talked with frontline sales internally, with SWAT, and with Suits, our sales department. And based on that, we have a really nice view on all different kinds of users that use Umbraco Cloud today. We also consider the segmentation in cloud. We have various organizations using Umbraco Cloud since it started to exist. And based on this, we can see who has succeeded and who is really happy in Umbraco Cloud today, who is spinning up a lot of products, if not daily, then monthly or quarterly, and also who have left us. And we want really much to know where we let them down, what was the root cause for this, and what we can improve in order to ensure that everybody is enjoying the time in Umbraco Cloud. We had a lot of workshop with users. I can see some of the faces here that we have conducted users with, or workshops with. Here we use a model called Customer Value Proposition Canvas, which is a really great tool in order to help customers to tell them the jobs that they have to be done in a hosting platform as ours, and also which pains and gains that are attached to that. It can be existing functionality or something that is missing in there that they really want us to add. Based on that insight, we can create some gain creators and pain relievers, and this will end up in code. It will end up in new features or improvements to existing, or us avoiding and removing some friction in Umbraco Cloud. We use a lot of design thinking for the more complex epics and features. We tend to, due to our understanding of the users, to empathize and define a problem statement. We think broad, and then we narrow our focus down and come up with a prototype that is really easy to users and testers to reflect on. And based on that, we get a really nice insight of what was good, what we should change, or if you should launch it at all. We often use observation testing for this, where we present a basic mock-up or idea to users, and they can have a look, and we just observe. We see what they are telling us and how they're reacting to that functionality, and based on that, we get a really valuable knowledge to us to do even better in the next iteration. Yeah, and I guess those 5 is sort of perhaps frameworks, ideas that you also use in agencies and in organization. It's not something that is new to many of you, but who of you know the B2B elements of value framework? I asked the same question yesterday at the business summit, and nobody raised their hand, so I'm not surprised either here. And it's also a more narrow model that is really great for us to consider, because we are creating a SaaS solution that is targeted B2B customer or businesses. And I'll just give a brief introduction, because we have used this, and it will also demonstrate why we have worked on the things that we worked on for the past year, and why we are going to work on the features that Kek will describe in just a few seconds. The B2B elements of value was created by Bain & Company in 2018. They conducted a few hundred interviews themselves, and also investigated research where B2B customers ask or answer questions about what they found to be important in a B2B offering. And the finding was that B2B purchases are not only objective decision. It's far more complex. Often there are some subjective things that is attached to the decision-making of the buyer, and even emotional at times. And in order to ensure that we can do and create the best possible B2B offering, we also have to take that into account. Not just the functional, not just the objective, but also the subjective elements. And the outcome of this model was a catalog of 40 B2B elements of value. And the primary objective with this model is to help businesses understand and deliver value to their B2B customers more efficiently. So here we see all the 40 elements, and they fall into 5 categories. We see them placed here in a pyramid. And just as the Maslow hierarchy of needs, we see all the objective in the very bottom, and the higher you get in the pyramid, the more subjective they get. So I'll just give a really quick introduction to each of the categories. The table stakes are the ones that have to be fulfilled for the customers even to consider this. The specification have to be in place, a fair price, regulatory and ethical standards have to be a match. Then we move up, and the B2B customer should see that this offering can bring value to them. It could be that, okay, if I bring this into our portfolio, then we can improve our top line, have some cost reduction, or maybe we can scale a lot better in the future. Then we move up in the category ease of doing business. It's really important for all organizations to be productive, but we also know that every organization works differently. So now we are in a somewhat subjective matter, because every process is different when you look at the organizations. So this is all about productivity, how to access the solution, relationship with the B2B creator, operation, and how it fits with how they operate in their own organization, and then also how it fits with the strategic approach and initiative. Then we move up individual value. Here it's more me as a B2B customer. Maybe I like the design of a certain offering. Maybe I can see that this will reduce my anxiety because then I get some information that I couldn't see in a competitor. It could also be that it improves my standard. Maybe I will be more valuable in the market if I get some insight into this offering. And then on the very top, inspirational, it's if the B2B offering has some vision, some hope for the future or social responsibility. Yeah, so we have used this triangle pyramid, and we're taking all the insight that we had of user personas, how our segmentation are, and all the information that we have retrieved for all the activities that we have done. And based on that, we could see 5 trends and tendencies. First of all, we can see that we are moving towards more subjective values when we talk to our customers. And I think that is really a good thing, actually, because in the past we have we have created some unique selling points in Umbraco Cloud that is really much associated with operation and productivity. But when we talk to customers now, they often ask us, why do you have this UI? It looks like something from 2015. We know that your infrastructure is based on the newest state-of-the-art from Azure, but why this old design? And it is because it is old. And we are currently definitely looking into that. So we're going to create a much better navigation and UI as well. Also, anxiety. We have some what we call for long-running operation. When you spin up a new environment or upgrade plan, it takes a lot of time because Azure have to do a lot of things, and you are waiting there when that happens. It's really annoying just not to get an update. So that's something also we're going to add for the future. And we have already added some guided flow. So when you are creating a new product, it's guided a lot better than in past where I would just clicking one button and then it just happened without you said, oh, this was actually what I'm going to do. We also consider some inspirational thing or get some requests from that, and we are looking into sustainability. It's a high topic that we are really concerned about at Umbraco, as we also heard earlier today, and it's also something that we're going to consider in Umbraco Cloud as well. Yeah. The second trend is that we have heard a lot of enterprise requests for the past years. Now we are in a really good state. We have a really rock-solid platform and infrastructure built with the newest, latest principles. And now we can move a lot faster than we could in the past. We already delivered dedicated options and also MFA. Organization can control the MFA and the types that the employees use, but we also want to create Active Directory integration and load balancing. The third trend is that we, due to the fact that we use a lot of resources, we use Azure and we have a really strong platform team that can provide a lot of data here. The same with the Cloudflare. And we also have a few things that we know about CMS, of course, and we also know what you are doing in Umbraco Cloud. So when you restart an environment or if you do a deployment, we have that data. And what we have seen is an upcoming trend is that we want to take all that data and somehow present it in a context where it's really valuable for you to get that context. It can be if there is an error, then it would be nice to see what could have caused that error. If you did a deployment and then afterwards there was a lot of server errors or whatever. And also, if there is an upgrade, would that potentially have a negative impact on the performance or whatever? So we have a lot of data that we're going to show to you guys in a really nice context. Fourthly is that we also know that there's a high demand for us being proactive. In the past, we had a few problems with noisy neighbors on some share plans. Now we are proactive, and now we handle it with care. So that is not really an issue anymore. The same if a long-running operation fails, if an environment is not spinning up, then we have a really nice set of logs which we can use when we reach out to the customer and then explain what they potentially have to do in order to make that happen. And often it's something that we can learn from, so the next time it happens, we have a lot better taken care of that, and so we are hardening that situation. So we learn all the time as well. And just the fifth trend and final is that, of course, product quality is still key. So we are at all times considering bug fixes and concerns that we get from support or directly to Kik and me as a high priority, and we want to fix it because we know the product quality that you offer your end clients is the most important of all. So, over to you, Kik.
Thank you, Søren. And I hope now that you can see with what Søren told you, how we actually have started building things in Umbraco Cloud now. And with that new mindset that Søren brought in, what have we actually done? Let's look at some of the recent highlights. These are highlights, it's not everything, we do a lot of things, but here are some recent highlights. Philip already stole half our thunder, but we have half of thunder left, and as everyone knows, the last half of thunder is the best half of thunder. So hang on to a bottle, Dave, because it's gonna get thunderstormed in a second. Good, so let's look at some recent highlights. We've added multiple regions to host your Umbraco Cloud site. Before we only had hosting in the EU, now we have in the EU still, but in US East and in UK South. So now you can, when you create a project in Umbraco Cloud, you choose which region you want it to be in, and then the database and everything for your project and everything that handles the data is done in that region. We've added dedicated scale up across all our plans. It works with the click of a button, and then you scale up. And if you need it for only a brief period of time, let's say you run a campaign, you have some good offers in your shop, you can scale up for this time you need it, and once you've done, you can scale down again, and you'll only pay for the days that you've used it. Secret management. DXP is a thing. You have integrations, they have keys, they have URLs, they have a lot of things that you don't want anyone else to see. Underneath all Umbraco Cloud projects, there's Git. So if you put things in configuration files, etc., Git remembers, and Git remembers very well. So all the keys and everything, you might have them lying around in different repositories or histories and stuff like that. That's not good. So we added this secret management, a feature where you can put in a key and then the value, and then we store this value in Azure Key Vault. And once this value is stored, no one will ever see it again. We store a reference to this value in the environment variables. So once you start referring to these variables in your code, you get the reference, and then some Azure magic converts that to the value which you've actually entered. MFA, multi-factor authentication, we added it for users, and then we added it for organizations, so you can set it up on your own, but if you're part of an organization, the organization admin will also be able to enforce it for all the users in the organization. And lastly, 3 weeks ago, we released this called Availability and Performance. It contains some more data into the insights of your project, how much memory are you using, the CPU, failed requests, and app performance in general. Now, this data is pulled out of Azure as it is right now. You can always follow what has happened. Thank you. It's my birthday, so thank you, Eva. Thanks. You can always follow what has changed in Umbraco Cloud in our release notes. I don't expect you to remember this URL, but just know that they're there. You can Google them, they're in our docs. So if you work with our docs, you can find them there. Furthermore, in Umbraco Cloud, top right corner, there's your name. Click it, there's a link for the release notes as well. And Søren is very keen on adding these every month, so they'll be added every month. Good. That was the recent highlights. Now let's look at the roadmap, and once again, thank you, Philip, but he doesn't know the details like Søren and I do, so now you get the details, you get the information. If you have further questions, please go to us, because we actually know what this means. First up, custom identity providers in Umbraco Cloud. You have your own user, you add a password, you sign in, you put it in your password manager if you use that. Quite simple, it's easy, you can do it. Then if you're an organization admin or you have multiple users working within the same projects and everything, there's more users to manage. There's more passwords, there's more password managers, there's more sharing, collaboration, etc. It can still be done, it's still doable, it's not that hard. But we at Umbraco, and most likely most of you, have a lot of systems that you work with each have their own users and setups, and again, different passwords for different services, and type in your password, and it's not the right password, you reset it, and you write it again, and it's like, oh, you can't use an old password and all that. It's annoying. And not only that, as the more users and more systems you add, the more unsafe this becomes. So what we would like you to enable you to use whatever custom identity provider you use for whichever preferred system you have, and then use that to log into Umbraco Cloud, and also into the back office of all Umbraco Cloud projects. Flexible environments. Currently in Umbraco Cloud, you have the possibility to have 3 environments: development, staging, and live. Sorry, this is mirrored. Well, anyway, you can have these 3 environments. Why 3 environments? No one actually knows. I've been here for 5 years and I don't have a reason to why it is like that. It just is. It's possible to deploy the schema changes, doc types, data types, custom code, etc., from left to right, so from dev to staging, from staging to live. And the content via Umbraco Deploy, you can push and pull between all the environments. But why 3 environments? Why do we just have 3 environments? Why not have 5 environments if that's what you want? I'm not good with names, so it's development and development 2 and stuff, but why not have that? It's no difference in reality, but we can't do it right now. So this is what we mean with flexible environments, adding environments. But also, we know that a lot of you work on features for your customers. And a feature might take some time to build, and you might want your clients to try these features also. In the meantime, you would still like to be able to push changes through your regular flow. So we are adding vertical environments as well, so that you can scale that way as well. So this is flexible environments. And of course, you'll be able to push and pull schema contents between these vertical environments as well. Load balancing. This little cloud logo, that's an Umbraco Cloud site. Imagine that you have one, you have a lot of traffic, and you want to load balance. It's not an uncommon thing to want. Currently it's not possible, but we wanted to make it possible. So instead of all traffic going to this project, you have 3 instances running of it. And then with the expertise of the platform team in Umbraco, we also set up all the routing in Cloudflare and everything, so every request is routed to the right instance that has the most computing power available at that given time. And even with the new regions we've added, you could add geo-redundancy in here, so it's hosted in different places of the world, catering to whichever places in the world that you have most requests from for this project. Schedule upgrades. In cloud, we have automatic patch upgrades, meaning that 12.0.0 will become 12.0.1. We are building in for minors as well, because with the new, or relatively new, release cadence of the CMS, we know that minors does not contain any breaking changes, so we want to automate them for you as well. So 12.0.3 will become 12.1.0. Now, these happens on a Tuesday, as Philip said, but for your projects, it could be Tuesday 7 in the morning, and then the next project is Tuesday 5 in the afternoon. What we want to enable for you is say, we would actually like our upgrades to happen Wednesday at 8, and then we can follow along, we can come in, have a cup of coffee, watch it happen, and then see, this is good, now we have updated projects, it's nice. CI/CD, I hope you all saw the demo this morning by Dan. So, as I said, Umbraco Cloud Projects has Git underneath it. You can work with this by cloning it down, doing the changes, but if you want a team member or colleague to review these changes, you will have to push it back into cloud. We've heard so many requests from people that saying, oh, we would really like to use cloud, but we want to host our repository outside of cloud so we can follow a regular process of doing pull requests and having peer reviews and everything. So that's actually what we're enabling. We call the feature CI/CD, but the CI/CD is actually the part of putting this into cloud again. But we want to enable you to have your code repository outside of Umbraco Cloud, work with it as you would like to work with it. Do the pull request, have it in GitLab, GitHub, whatever, wherever you have it. We want to enable you to have that and then push the changes back into Umbraco Cloud. As Dan showed you, this is actually working. We have it running in a what's it called? Secure internal test, and it looks very nice. And we are currently working on having it ready for external tests. And that's also why it's the only thing on the roadmap that we currently have a timeline on with this Q3. And then as Søren mentioned, developer insights, what is that? Well, we have a lot of data around your project. We just released this availability and performance. It has some nice data, but it's from Azure. But we are also experts on Cloudflare. We know the CMS a little bit, or we'd like to think so. So why not have all that data make sweet, sweet love together and let you watch it? So what happens if you do a deployment and you suddenly start seeing a lot of force to a certain URL? Well, why don't we tell you that that has happened so you don't have to monitor your website? So we take these combinations of data that we have and then tell you, you did something or something else happened, now this is occurring. This was just an example. We could have a lot of things happening and a lot of information pushed towards you, but what you need and what you would like to see, we don't know, so that's what we need your help for. Once again, I'm not good with names. This is the second name we've come up with. I'm not even going to say what the first one is because that was also horrible, but we call it currently Improved Process Visibility for Umbraco Cloud. So we have some operations in Umbraco Cloud that just take some time. Changing infrastructure in Azure just takes time. We can't do anything about that. So if you need a new database, move plan, or add an environment, whatever you need, it takes some time. And a lot of things happen with the infrastructure in the meantime. So sometimes you shouldn't do two of these operations at the same time. We know that, you don't know that, we know that, and we want you to know that as well. So what we mean with improved process visibility is a UI that might look something like this. So someone starts adding an environment, some of your colleagues goes to the project and they see this screen saying, hey, this person added an environment, we expect it to take this much time, this is the steps, please don't touch anything else. So this whole thing of giving the transparency of that we know what we're doing back to you and giving you that safety so you can say, okay, it's good, I'll have a coffee and then wait until this is done and then I can start working with this. Sustainability, Philip showed this, we are working on it, we are working with external suppliers to pull these numbers out of Azure. So an Umbraco Cloud project in Azure, it has a database, it has a key vault, it has blob storage, a web app, and all of these use electricity and have, CO2 emissions. We want to be able to pull out those numbers for each project so that you on a project, in even environment level, can see this exact project is using this amount of CO2. Not only that, if we go back to the developer insights, we can actually use this data and cross-check with other data that we have. Also, we can do benchmarks. We have several thousand websites in Umbraco Cloud running newer versions, so we can actually compare and say, oh, we have improved performance in Umbraco with the release of 9, 10, 11, and 12 soon. But what impact does that have? We can actually show you, meaning that if you have a site that performs bad CO2 emissions, that runs 8 or 9, we can say, well, on average, a website reduces carbon emissions with 30% if you go to 12, and you can take that to your clients and say, should we not do this? Should we not upgrade? Give us some money and we'll upgrade and you can sleep better tonight. So this is what we mean with also developer insights, taking this data and comparing it across. Lastly, as Søren said, we are building a new UI. We have hired new people to do this as well. I think he's here. Arton, yes, that lovely fellow down there. This is some drawings. I think we are going in this direction, but it may be subject to change. One thing to notice is that this little settings menu we have, you probably know it. At least on my screen, I have to scroll now when I click it because we add so many features. So we group these things together and then put them in a sidebar. So it's easier for you to navigate between it. And we actually added a sidebar to that sidebar so that you can easily navigate to your other projects while you're in a project. And please, for the love of God, if you have an idea for another sidebar, please let me know because I fucking love sidebars and I want another one. Good. Remember, the roadmap is here on umbraco.com/products.roadmap. It's combined with forms, deploy, workflow, CMS, everything, but all the items I just mentioned, they are in the roadmap right now. And if you seek inspiration, you need something, look at the roadmap, reach out about the roadmap as well. We're very open and we would love to talk about it. So in conclusion.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. How does it look if you take all the features and put it into the B2B elements of value? It looks like this. So just to state, to our conclusion be that we will still continue to add to you being more productive. And here we have a bunch of enterprise features in the pipeline, such as load balancing, CI/CD, flexible environments, and schedule updates. But you can also see that we built more subjective matter into our work. So we are going to look at modern UI, developer insights, and also sustainability. So that is the trend, and the better we are doing in the bottom, the more we can add on the top, and I think this looks quite promising. But of course, in order to do it correctly, we need your feedback. We are really much looking forward to talk all of you. If there's some area that is a special interest, then just reach out. And over to you, Kik.
Yep, thank you. So, in this triangle, the more higher we get up, which we have just proved that we are doing, the more subjective things will be. And you cannot say subjective without saying subjective. And subjective means personal opinions. And that's where you come in to help us, because we actually need your subjective opinions on these things in order to build them better for you. And this is the end you part of this talk. So what we have tried to do, as Søren mentioned, we've tried to take those of you that we know already and have contact with already and try to implement you in this process that we have been doing with the design thinking. Let me give you an example with the CI/CD feature that Dan demoed today. Many feature requests from this spawned from having the code outside of Umbraco Cloud. That's actually what spawned this whole idea. As I said, the CI/CD is just how to get it back into cloud. But that was actually the feature request. And for some reason, the Umbraco Cloud history, we've always said that, this is what we want. You have 3 environments, and you work here in Umbraco Cloud. You click these buttons. That has been the mentality. But with this new approach that we have, we've sort of changed that around and said, why is that? Why not push it to you so that you can use your processes, do what you want to do what you're good at in order to succeed with your projects? So we empathized with you as the first step here and then said, yeah, that makes sense. It actually makes sense. Why shouldn't they? And then we started to have these internal discussions about the definition and started to generate ideas. And then we found out Dave, last Codegarden, actually had a talk about how they did it on Umbraco Cloud. So we thought, maybe we should listen to him and see, well, maybe we can get inspired by this. Not only that, we found out that other people were actually doing this as well. And I think I saw Benji somewhere. Yeah, he's there. He also did, and he also did a demo for us saying, we have actually also hacked this together, and it works like this. So we had these user demos from you to get inspired. Then we took all that information and synthesized it, and then we built a prototype, which is what you saw Dan demo today. And then we took that prototype, and then we showed it to some of you, and we also showed it to people not using Umbraco Cloud. Actually, someone said, we're not using Umbraco Cloud because you don't have CI/CD. So we showed this to them, and we asked them bluntly, said, would this change your perception of it? Would this check the box of CI/CD? And they said, yep. Good. So that's how we involve users and you so far in this process, and we haven't even had anything you could try yet. We are building that, so as you can see on the Today button, we are working on making this externally possible for you to try out. It's a closed beta. If you want access to this, just come talk to us. We can set it up. It's relatively easy. It's a hard-coded list somewhere in some code, and we can add you to that if you want to try it. We've already had several people coming up today and say, we really want to be part of that. We have a new cool project coming up. Can we use this? Yes, you can. So we have already involved a lot of people, and to all of those, a big thank you. We mean that from the bottom of our heart. I'll leave this list for 5 seconds so you can read all of them. As you can see, Benji is here, and Dave is here, and maybe some others from the audience that I might not spot yet. But really appreciate the help. A big thank you for the time you spent to make Umbraco Cloud the best place to host Umbraco. And to the rest of you, you are all wondering, how do I get my name on that list? I know. Don't worry, there's a way, because we actually want your name on this list. And how we want to do it is we want to build long-lasting relationships with you. That's our main goal. We don't want to write you and say, hey, can you help us with this, and then just forget all about you. And we don't want you to write us with something random at some point. We want long-running relationships with you. We want the possibility to write you and say, hey, we actually started this feature. Do you want to help us build it? And then you go, no, we don't have time. That's totally fine. But you can look at the roadmap, and then you can write us back and say, but we actually would like to help with this feature. Well, fine, and then we write you about this feature, and then you also say no, because you don't have time at that point. It's okay, because we know that we trust each other, and we can do this indefinitely to help improve the product. But we want those relationships where we're open enough to say no if we don't have time, or yes if we have time and we're interested in this feature. You can reach out to me on keg@umbraco.dk. You can reach out to Søren at sai@umbraco.dk, and we answer really fast. There was I said the same thing in London last year, and there was a guy in the audience who was he tried to be smart, so he sent this long email to Søren while I was doing the talk, and before the talk was done, Søren answered with this long email to him with correct answers, and he came up to me afterwards and said, "You're right, Keg, you are fast." I said, "I know." I'm not gonna say who it was. I don't see the person in the crowd, but it was Callum. If you stay here for Codegarden the next couple of days, come visit us in the cloud corner. It's back in the menu, the social scene. It's in the corner, and there's clouds. Should be recognizable, and if you still can't find it, it's right next to the nail polish saloon. So if you're there, stop by. We really want your name on that list, and we mean that. And we thank you that are already on the list so much, because you really help make Umbraco Cloud the best place to host Umbraco. Thank you.